Oh yes, please come back. Why are you offline? Oh yes, please come back. I miss you all the time. I can't check my mail, all my links are broken. Why can't I use my old connect? Move out, I must be joking. Oh yes, please come back. Why are you offline? Oh yes, please come back. I miss you all the time. You were always a janky piece of shit, but I hold you in my heart. It is hard to deal with it. 2 weeks we have been apart. You are always a janky piece of shit, but I hold you in my heart. It is hard to deal with it. 2 weeks we have been apart. 2 weeks we have been apart. Oh yes, please come back. Why are you offline? Oh yes, please come back. I miss you all the time. Oh yes, please come back. Why are you offline? Oh yes, please come back. I miss you all the time. A janky piece of shit, but I hold you in my heart. It is hard to deal with it. 2 weeks we have been apart.
Karma's a bitch.
Stop going there. Don't panic.
Hello, everyone, and how are you all doing today? I hope that all of you are having a magnificent day today. It is really weird weather here. I don't know what we're going to be doing today, but for now, I thought that I would go live and that we could just have a little chat. I want to have a talk about the multi-level marketing laws here in Canada and talk about which ones Onpassive is breaking. They are very similar to the USA laws, and it's been a very long time since I've gone through them. I know I went through them like during the first year that I had my channel, which would have been like early 2020 or something. So it's been a little while. So I thought that right now would be a good time to come on and just kind of go through them again. And I also have one other thing on the agenda, because our dear friends Roberta Blevins and Michelle Carpenter did a stream. I believe it was yesterday. I saw it this morning, in which they are discussing that in a week from now, they might be changing the laws in the USA as they pertain to multi-level marketing companies. So, the anti-MLM community has a call for action right now. And they are asking that if you are in the USA, that you please just take a moment sometime over the next week. Click on the link that is pinned. It is pinned in my comments here. And it is also in my description. I also give a little blurb about what's going on. But as you can see, this is Michelle's website, and it's take action request. Says help protect consumers from fraudulent business practices. The Financial Services and General Government Appropriations Act of 2025 proposes to restrict the Federal Trade Commission from finalizing or enforcing the Business Opportunity Rule and the Earnings Claims Rule. Two rules that if you are an anti-MLM advocate and you're in the USA, you've been fighting for them to have. These rules are crucial for protecting consumers from deceptive income claims and fraudulent business opportunities, particularly in the multi-level marketing, network marketing, whatever you want to call it, industry. A recent study showed that 98% of MLMs made misleading income representations last year in 2023. Without these rules, the FTC's ability to protect the public is severely limited. And that means that when I tell you to go to the FTC and report people for illegal income claims and etc., that won't matter anymore. Right? If this goes through, it will be very hard to hold people accountable for any kind of illegal income claims. These are basically the rules that say like that they have to show a disclosure and they cannot make like these huge claims like, oh, become a millionaire overnight and all this kind of stuff. So only way that MLMs are regulated at all, without them, MLMs are no longer regulated, basically. Without these rules, the FTC's ability to protect the public is severely limited. Please help by contacting your representative to oppose this bill. She's put together a whole consumer advocate tool. And what you do is you put in your name, your zip code. You can put in your occupation if you want. Put a few sentences about why. Like maybe you are someone who watches AntiMLM. And you really want to ensure that MLMs can be regulated the best that we can, you know? Hi, Violet. Violet's having fun with the song. That was a Slammy Nugget. He's the one that did that song. But just say, like, I think that it is very bad when MLMs make illegal income disclosures and all this kind of thing. And then you can check the boxes that apply to you. Like, have you personally lost money due to deceptive income claims or fraudulent business practices? Do you have a friend or loved one that's in an MLM? Do you have a friend or loved one that's in Onpassive? That's an MLM. This also pertains to them. It would be awful if, Onpassive could just claim that you're going to make millions of dollars overnight, and then we couldn't get them in trouble for that, And then what it will do is it will print off a really pretty letter. And just so you guys know, Michelle's not storing any of this information. When you fill out this form, she's not getting a document that's giving her your info. It's not for her at all. It's literally just so that this bot can write you up a more personalized letter. Otherwise, you're going to get one that's not very personal, which, I mean, if you're okay with, then cool. But it is better if it's like a little bit personal. But then you take that letter and then you can get a hold of your representatives. If any of you need help finding out who to send the letter to, feel free to get a hold of me on any of my socials. We can look it up together. It kind of depends on what state you're in. So do that, please. Please do this. This is a call of action. Again, every anti-MLM advocate for the next week is going to be asking you to do this. I hope. If they're not, then maybe we should side-eye them. No, I'm just joking, sort of. But basically, please do come and fill this out. Send a letter to your representative. You can just send it in an email for the most part, even. Very, very easy. Just takes a few moments of your time. And then it protects consumers for the rest of time. Or at least until next year when we have to revisit this again because they try to pass this bill through or something. You know what I mean? I do realize that every year we're asking you guys to do some kind of call to action to to help us with the laws and whatnot, but that's kind of part of what we're doing here. It's really great to spread awareness about MLMs, and we have fun with you guys out here when we live stream and when we make videos and we get to, you guys leave comments, we get to respond to you and all that. That's all great fun and everything. And so is like calling out Huns and holding them accountable for what they say and whatnot. But this is kind of the real gritty work. This is what we're doing behind the scenes is we are trying to stop them from changing the laws like this. We're reporting constantly to all kinds of different places, especially me, because I'm always reporting to the US and Canada every time. So if I report something in the US, I then go to Canada and report it at the same like equivalent in Canada, just because I'm Canadian, but a lot of the MLMs are USA. So please do this. It will be great help. And I thought that what we would do, like I said, is just kind of go over the laws again here in Canada. Hello, Jesus. Jesus, did you get my prayer last night? Maybe some of you guys missed it. It was out really late, but I put out quite a late video last night where we did a prayer together. So, don't miss that. Hello, Wes. Good to see you. Onpassive? Yes, you can use Onpassive as an example. You can say, because if they change these laws, Onpassive will get away with what they're doing. We don't want that. We do not want that. But the good news is, I guess, is that Ash isn't only breaking the laws in the USA, he's also breaking the laws in Canada. And you can also get him in trouble here in Canada. So I thought we would just kind of go through these, have a little read. This is the Canadian government website for the Competition Act, where it's going to explain the entire thing to us. It's going to tell us about all the laws in terms of MLMs, and it's also going to tell us all the laws in terms of pyramid selling or pyramid schemes. That's just the professional title for pyramid schemes. Hi, Robert. Good to see you. My prayer was better, and I'm not even a Christian. Look at that. So in the USA, you guys have the Compensation Act, which is very similar to what our Competition Act is. So we'll just start at the beginning. And it says, this bulletin describes the nature of and the differences between a multi-level marketing plan, MLM plan, and a scheme of pyramid selling as outlined in sections 55 and 55.1 of the Competition Act. It also describes the general principles and policies applied by the Bureau with respect to these provisions. So the Competition Act, which will probably be just referred to as the Act over and over again in this, is a law of general application that establishes basic principles, it's basic, for the conduct of business in Canada. The purpose of the Act is to maintain and encourage competition. Because, competition, as I bring up, whenever Ash says that, they're taking over the industry and they don't have any competition, believe it or not, competition in business is actually good for business. Yeah, believe it or not. Helps. Canada has no laws. It's a lawless frontier, a frozen wasteland. I think it's the inspiration for the Mad Max movies here in the USA. Maybe. You were very disappointed with Marty's performance on Shining the Light today. Aw. Only 17 minutes. Oh, they're getting shorter. They're getting shorter, huh? I'm not surprised, though. I'm really not. Not sure if everyone told Marty he needs to shut up or what, but he really hasn't been talking at all the last few days. I mean, what's there to talk about? I mean, what are they going to do? Just keep repeating themselves. You didn't have the patience to watch. Neither did I. I was like, we got to take a break today. I'm holding out for tomorrow. Hopefully something happens tomorrow. It is Wednesday, the 360 day. So there's that. So again, competition in business, good for business. And the purpose of the act is to maintain and encourage competition, but keep it ethical. right? Like that's the point. So it promotes the efficiency and adaptability of the Canadian economy. It expands opportunities for Canadian participation in world markets while recognizing the role of foreign competition in Canada. In other words, even if you're a company in the US, all right, you still have to then follow Canadian laws in Canada, ensuring small and medium-sized enterprises have equal opportunity to participate in the Canadian economy, and it provides consumers with competitive prices and product choices. And those are actually two of the main things that make competition in business like good. And that's what it's for. It's supposed to benefit the consumers. Okay? It gives you a choice. And it also, as I said, gives you the competitive prices and more than one product choice. Imagine if something that you have to buy, you were only allowed to buy one product from one company, and you were told, like, you have to buy this kind. Right? Your rights would be then taken away. You would then lose the right to make an educated decision as a consumer on, like, based on what's best for your decisions for you and your family when you buy these products, for example, right? So the reason why competition is in our corporate world and why it's good is actually because it's good for consumers. All right. Businesses can have fun with it too, but it's actually the best for consumers. Help protect consumers and their rights. So the role of the Competition Bureau. It's an independent agency that contributes to the prosperity of Canadians by protecting and promoting competitive markets and enabling informed consumer choice. Again, I'll repeat that. Informed, or as I say, educated, consumer choice. Okay, it enables you to make an informed decision as a consumer and to have more than one choice. Headed by the Commissioner of Competition, the Bureau is responsible for the administration and enforcement of the Competition Act, the Consumer Packaging and Labeling Act. So that's where I would go, for example, if MLM is selling a health product and on their packaging, it's making claims and not actually putting the ingredients that are in the product. You have to put the ingredients on the package. That's what that place handles, the Consumer Packaging and Labeling Act, the Textile Labeling Act, and they kind of go hand in hand, and the Precious Metals Marking Act. And that's to say, like, if you ever get like I don't know, sterling silver, it says 925 on it. There's a stamp on it. If you've ever gotten like a necklace, bracelet, ring with that, you'll see that. That's kind of what that's about. They handle that stuff. When there has been a contravention or a violation of the law, the Bureau's objective is to correct anti-competitive activities and deter responsible firms and individuals from future anti-competitive conduct. The Bureau also encourages firms to set up corporate compliance programs to ensure they adopt policies and practices that conform with the law. It emphasizes education and voluntary compliance to limit the need for contested legal proceedings. Because, again, everyone's court system is backed up enough already, and consequently works to inform businesses and other stakeholders, right, because it protects them too, about the laws. Through its advocacy program, the Bureau actively promotes a competitive market and contributes to the development of competition policy legislation. Their commitment to educating the marketplace is complemented by several forms of voluntary compliance. These range from written opinions, which assist businesses that want to avoid breaking the law, which I don't think Onpassive falls in that category, to alternative case resolutions, which correct anti-competitive behavior in a timely and cost-effective fashion. As in cost-effective for taxpayers. Businesses and individuals who disregard the law or fail to take advantage of opportunities for voluntary compliance may be prosecuted by the Public Prosecution Service of Canada in criminal court or be subject to civil litigation by the Bureau before the Competition Tribunal or in a civil court. Again, very similar to the SEC litigation with Onpassive. It would be very similar to that. You know? Employees filed a case in Hyderabad. If you can find me proof of that and send me like a link, that would be great. I will look further into it. I really hope that they'd have. They should. They have every right to. And but it would just be good if I had something to show. Like, you know, like if there's like a case number that you could even give me. Maybe it will come up in the news. Who knows? That would be wonderful. So basically, though, these guys would handle it very similarly to how the SEC handles things when people break the laws in the USA. So now we're getting right into the MLMs and schemes of pyramid selling overview. And it's going to explain to us the differences, what makes something an MLM versus a pyramid scheme, blah, 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 blah. Very important information. Something that Hunbots always do is they go, well, we're not a pyramid scheme. That's different. But you'll find out here that it's different, but it's not that hard to kind of go from being an MLM into a pyramid scheme. Or, for example, this document is going to also explain to all of you why Onpassive is actually, in Canada, a scheme of pyramid selling and is not an MLM at all. There is something that they are doing that immediately takes them out of the MLM category and puts them directly into the pyramid scheme category here in Canada. So, multi-level marketing plans. An MLM plan is a plan with 3 or more levels. The operator and at least 2 levels of participants. That's why even when Modern Alternative Mama says earthly wellness is not an MLM, guess what? That promotes the supply of a product to participants of the plan. Compensation is earned by participants in the MLM plan based on the supply of the product to participants and or non-participants, like customers, of the MLM plan. Non-participants as customers, the participants would be like the other Hunbots, or even sometimes it also includes like the loyal customers. People that are getting like an auto ship from the MLM would be considered participants of it. A legitimate MLM plan focuses on the supply of products rather than the recruitment of prospective participants into the MLM plan, and offers products that consumers value and are willing to purchase. Certain terms used in this section are defined below. Don't worry, we'll go through them. To prevent the deception of prospective participants, if an operator or a participant makes any representation about the compensation that is or may be earned under the MLM plan, the operator or participant making the representation must disclose the compensation received by typical participants in the MLM plan. Often, a product purchase, such as a distributor kit, is required to participate in an MLM plan. Notice, Marty DeGarmo, though, that they did say often, not all the time. If the operator of an MLM plan requires a person to purchase a product to participate in the MLM plan, then the product must be sold at the seller's cost and only for the purpose of facilitating sales. And by the purpose of facilitating sales, they mean that the product includes things like magazines to hand out, listing all the products, order forms, business cards. These are things that would be considered products for the purpose of facilitating sales. It does not, however, include a video conferencing application to chit-chat on. That's not directly for the purpose of facilitating sales. Does that make sense? Don't you have to have a product to be an MLM? Yes. And it has to be a product that people would buy on the market, like even customers. It's supposed to be anyway, you know? They stretch that one mighty far out here in these MLMs, don't they? But, I mean, most people can argue that most products, I mean, you've seen even them argue that we all need their O-trim. So, like, most MLMs can argue, oh, well, people do need these products that we have. But you do have to have something for sale. That, like, for sure. There has to be something that can be purchased. The definition of a multi-level marketing plan. Subsection 55(1) of the Act defines an MLM plan as a plan in which a participant receives compensation for the supply of a product to another participant, who in turn receives compensation for the supply of the same or another product to yet another participant in the MLM plan. Again, 3 levels. Subsections 55(2) and 55(2.1 set out certain obligations relating to compensation disclosure by operators of and participants in MLM plans. Failure to comply with these obligations is subject to criminal penalties as set out in subsection 55(3). We're going to go through the entire text of it. Don't worry. It's all in here. We're reading the whole thing today. 4.2 here is schemes of pyramid selling. So, pyramid schemes, you know? I'm posting the online paper link, but YouTube is deleting the same. Could you email it to me if that's going on? And then when I'm done here, I'll take a look at it and then put together a little video letting people know. My email's there. Just don't use Omail. You can't. Oh yeah, forgot. Sorry, that was a bad joke. So this is now the definition of a pyramid scheme. All right, so we went through MLM. Now this is pyramid scheme, which they call a scheme of pyramid selling. That's what it's called here. which sounds funny to me. I don't know why they tried to make it so fancy sounding. A scheme of pyramid selling is a form of an MLM plan focused primarily on generating earnings through recruitment. So the number one thing that Onpassive has screwed up on is that the only way that you could make money is by getting people to come in and pay the $97. That was their first fuck up and their first thing that they did to break the law out here. And then people were making money off of the recruitment of people, and there was no product to sell. They had no OES system or any of that. So they were seriously just recruiting. These schemes may offer products. The biggest misconception out here is that an MLM is a pyramid scheme that has products, and I'm guilty of saying it myself. And then a pyramid scheme is one that's only about recruiting, but the thing is, pyramid schemes can also have products. See, here in Canada, the laws are a little different. Like I said, it has to be a product of value. So these schemes may offer products, however, the products may have very little value, or the plan may offer limited incentives for their sale. Okay, so in other words, they will look at the products that you have. Because here's the thing, some pyramid schemes, they come out with really shitty products just to say we have a product, because they're also under the impression that that's all they need to get out of being a pyramid scheme, right? Jelly's here. It says Onpassive is the most sophisticated scheme of pyramid selling indeed, right? Scheme of pyramid selling. I love it. I love it, but at the same time, like, really, guys? Really, we had to do that? Like, so in the case of Onpassive, they would kind of look at the products and go, are these products just kind of something thrown together just so that they can say we have products? Or are they like thought out products and this person really did plan this company and what it was going to be about, and like these products have a use, you know, like, and the public's going to want to buy them? They would look at all of this kind of thing. And if they figured that these products have no value, then having the products, it's like you don't have them. They don't matter. Income in the scheme is derived primarily from the money perspective participants pay to join the scheme, and not from the sale of product. Often schemes of pyramid selling promise huge wealth and financial security to their participants, you know, like generational wealth. Enough to save all of humanity. They usually require the participant to pay to join. This payment may be described as an enrollment fee, a membership fee, or an investment into a money-making enterprise. Are you paying to maybe make money later on down the line? Are you paying $97 and then not actively selling and recruiting into anything with the hopes that in several years you might make money? Right now, that's what Onpassive is doing. In addition to payment, participants are typically told that they must recruit others into the MLM plan, who in turn must recruit others before they are able to earn any money. Given the finite pool of potential recruits, pyramid schemes are inherently unsustainable and eventually collapse. Although a small number of participants at the top of the pyramid may make money, the overwhelming majority of participants lose their money. Schemes of pyramid selling are illegal under both the Act and the Criminal Code. All right, Act is civil litigation, but you're also going against the Criminal Code, which means that there is jail time involved if you run a scheme of pyramid selling. You know? So now we have the full definition of a scheme of pyramid selling. Section 55(1) of the Act defines a scheme of pyramid selling as an MLM plan with one or more of the following features. In other words, it does not need to check all the boxes. It just needs to be an MLM plan with one of these. Requires a payment for the right to receive compensation for recruiting others into the MLM plan. Compensation for recruitment. If they come in and they join underneath you, do you make commission off of it? Requires purchases as a condition of participation. A purchase requirement other than a specified amount of product at the seller's cost for the purpose of facilitating sales. In other words, are you buying an MLM starter kit? If it's not what would be in an MLM starter kit, then it's not for the purpose of facilitating sales. In other words, if you tell people that they have to buy a video conferencing application like OConnect in order to make withdrawable money off of selling that product, you are requiring a purchase as a condition of participation. And automatically here in Canada, that then makes it a scheme of pyramid selling and not an MLM. So I guess Marty and Chris are right. They're not an MLM. Here in Canada as well, they're a full-on pyramid scheme. Includes inventory loading, and that is when, again, you are forced to purchase products, several of them. So, if in future they have O-Tracker cost an amount, and then you have to buy both of them to make money off of both of them, that would start to sound like inventory loading. Even if it's not going in your garage, by the way. A lot of people seem to think that just means it's piling up in your garage or your basement or a shed or no. It also works with online as well. Being forced to buy multiple different products in order to sell those products. And trying to buy as many as you can in order to make the most money off of it, right? Jail time needs to be on the table. I agree. Red is chatting shit this morning? Probably. And the last thing, remember it only needs one, is that it lacks a buyback guarantee on reasonable commercial terms, or participants are not informed about the guarantee. It is a criminal offense to establish, operate, advertise Michael Williams AIM, Robin Noble, or promote Michael Williams AIM, Robin Noble, a scheme of pyramid selling, a criminal offense, even just to advertise or promote one. Working definitions of key terms. This section sets out the Bureau's working definitions of certain terms, right? What do these words mean? Used in this or in the MLM provisions of the Act. So these are basically terms that are not defined in the Act, but that you need to know. So operator is a person or entity who is responsible for an MLM plan. So in this case, operators would be, like in the case of Onpassive, Ash Mufareh, Mohammed Kamal. You know, the people that are like that, maybe even Dr. Susan. You know, an MLM plan may have more than one operator. For example, if an MLM plan is operated by a corporation, any individual who is the directing mind of the corporation or who directs the making of a representation related to compensation on the corporation's behalf. So whoever decides like how much things are going to cost and how much people are going to make and has a say in the business plan, you know, is also responsible for ensuring compliance with the MLM provisions of the Act. This is why you should maybe have a compliance team. It's why most MLMs do, just so that they can follow that laws. Prospective participant is an individual who has expressed interest in joining an MLM plan or who has been approached by a current participant or the operator of the MLM plan to supply the product to others with the prospect of earning compensation under the MLM plan. In other words, have you ever gotten one of those, "Hey, hon," messages? Congratulations, you were a prospective participant. Basically, it's someone who's been approached, but they are not yet joined. Okay, it's just someone who might join. It also works like just in terms of like an imaginary person who in future could join the MLM, you know? Doesn't have to mean that we're talking about a specific person. Just if any of the prospective participants, for example, read this compensation plan and they don't understand it, then the compensation plan shouldn't be legal. Like that's how they would kind of use it. So it doesn't have to be like a specific person. It all just means anyone who they could approach with this opportunity is a prospective participant. A participant is a nice word for hunbot, hun, brobot, MLM bitch, you know, things like that. Boss babe, whatever. A participant in an MLM plan is an individual who actively engages in the activities necessary to realize the benefits of the MLM plan. It means that you're engaging in the activities. It does not mean that you're making money. Because most of you aren't. But you still count here. A participant in an MLM plan has joined the MLM plan. So like in this case, it would be all the O founders. Has the right to sponsor others in the MLM plan. They're supposed to have it. And has the right to sell products to others. Typical participants are representative of the smallest range of compensation earned by over 50% of the participants in the MLM plan. And don't worry, as we go through this, they're going to give us examples. So it'll be very easy to get. So if you're a little confused on some of these things, I'm sure that by the time we're done reading through this, you will understand everything. Where an MLM plan sets out defined levels of compensation and no single level accounts for the majority of participants greater than 50%. So in this case, and you know, here where no one's made a dime, reference must be made to the fewest levels that together include a majority of the participants. So if it's like 2 or 3 levels make up 50%, then those are the ones you include. Thus, the average compensation of participants in an MLM plan is not normally considered to reflect the compensation that typical participants receive or are likely to receive, because the average can be skewed upward by a few high income earners. And as we know, up to 2% of people can earn an income in MLM, so careful. For the purpose of this calculation, the Bureau excludes individuals who have been participants for less than 1 year, and they do that because then the numbers would be even worse. They're really bad. Representations relating to compensation. A representation relating to compensation is any statement, declaration, or image, so pictures count, that conveys a message about the compensation a person could expect to earn as a participant of an MLM plan. A representation relating to compensation is not limited to a dollar figure or monetary range, but may also include representations about obtaining, as a result of compensation under the MLM plan, luxury goods such as vehicles, RVs, boats, jewelry, watches, homes, and vacation destinations. This could include images of such luxury items where the general impression created by the context in which the images appear is that the items can be obtained as a result of compensation under the MLM plan. Promises of opportunities to earn bonuses, commissions, and other financial rewards. Even just mentioning that you can earn a bonus or a commission is considered a representation relating to compensation. Profiles of individuals who have been unusually successful in earning money in the MLM plan. So, you know, when they do those big presentations and someone comes on stage and they're like, I'm a millionaire because of this MLM. Yeah, that counts. That counts. What about doTERRA? It is an MLM model and working in Canada as we speak. Yes, this pertains to all of the MLMs. All of them, you know? Surprise webinar. Gonna be hard to hide that lovely YouTube evidence. It will be. It will. It also includes similar representations as those above that are made in testimonials. All those websites that have testimonials on them, there better be an income disclosure under it. And testimonials from people who claim that as a result of compensation under the MLM plan, they were able to improve their quality of life, Barney and Chris, quit their jobs, Marty and Chris, or eliminate all their debts. Onpassive includes that. Operator's cost or seller's cost. Operators or seller's cost is the cost of the operator of an MLM plan or another seller incurs to acquire a product. This includes their direct costs of labor, materials, handling, and shipping, but does not include any markup by the seller or allocation of indirect overhead costs. Thus, where a participant in an MLM plan gives consideration for a certain amount of product as a condition of participating in the plan, the act requires that the operator or other seller supply the product to the participant at a price no greater than the cost incurred by the operator or other seller to produce or acquire the product. In other words, if an MLM hunt is getting a discount and they are giving it to another participant, they have to allow that same discount. They can't then mark the price up. Now we're going to get into the disclosure requirements. And this says that every time that you make a representation relating to compensation, which we just went over what those were, you are supposed to disclose the income. Subsection 55(2) prohibits an operator or participant of an MLM plan from making representations relating to compensation to a prospective participant without fair, reasonable, and timely disclosure of the information within the knowledge of the operator or the participant relating to A, compensation actually received by typical participants in the MLM plan. So what money did they actually make? Or B, compensation likely to be received by typical participants in the MLM plan, having regard to any relevant considerations, including the factors listed in paragraph 55(2)(b). And then subsection 55(2.1) requires an operator of an MLM plan to ensure that any representations relating to compensation under the MLM plan that are made to a prospective participant by a participant of the MLM plan or a representative of the operator constitute or include fair, reasonable, and timely disclosure of the information within the knowledge of the operator relating to A, compensation actually received by typical participants in the MLM plan. So again, in the case of Onpassive, they haven't received any money. But hold on. Compensation likely to be received by typical participants in the MLM plan, having regard to any relevant considerations, including the factors listed in paragraph 55(2)(b). This section provides that an operator shall not be convicted of an offense under subsection 55(2.1) if the operator establishes that he or she took reasonable precautions and exercised due diligence to ensure that no representations relating to compensation under the plan were made by participants or representatives of the operator, or that any representations made by participants or representatives of the operator constituted or included fair, reasonable, and timely disclosure. And we're going to get into how what due diligence is. But it's basically is there a compliance team? Does the operator, in this case, does Ash Mufareh, ensure to tell people not to make illegal income claims? And if people make illegal income claims, does he actually go about reaching out to them and telling them to stop? Is there penalties? Can they lose their founder position? And is he actually doing these things? Or is he just saying them and then turning a blind eye? What's up? I'm sure most of you, by the way, would be like, oh, he's definitely not doing his due diligence. So now they're going to give us like an example where they say the circumstance is that the operator of an MLM plan states that the following amounts of compensation were received by the given percentages of participants in the MLM plan during the last year. So here we go. This is the percentage of participants in their MLM. And this is how much they made. Okay. And it says that a typical participant, a typical participant in the above situation, okay, would be someone who earned between $2,001 or $4,000 per year. Okay, because we would take these two levels here, all right, and we would consider that to be the main amount that people made. That's how easy it is. These two added up together is over 50% of the participants, right? 60%. So 60% of the people in this MLM made between $2,001 and $4,000. So if you're going to talk about how much you make in this MLM, you would have to disclose that this is the main amount that people made. This range represents the fewest levels that include more than 50%, in this case 60% of the participants in the MLM plan. If the operator were to make representations such as 60% of participants made between $2,001 and $4,000 in our MLM, or if they said typical participants made between $2,001 and $4,000, or the operator set out the above table in connection with any other compensation representation. So if this isn't a disclosure, like let's say they're writing a post on Facebook and they say, you can make money in this business, come join, then they would have to include this chart. Or they would have to say, most people in this MLM made between $2,001 and $4,000. And then just to be safe, they should also include this chart. It's just the best way to do it. By the way, if you are out there in an MLM, just always include the chart. It just to save your ass, really. So if you do those things, then there's no issue. However, if you were a Hunbot and this was your income disclosure statement here, this is what everyone made, and you come on here and you go, earn more than $7,000 per year. Or you say, many participants earned more than $7,000 last year, right? Because 4 people earned $7,000, 10 earned over, like 15 more, right? 19 people earned over $7,000. That's not most of the people. So that would be considered an illegal income claim unless you did at the same time include this chart, and then you might be able to fight it. I mean, the language would still be questionable and they would be like, okay, but why did you misrepresent it? But again, like I said, it's just better to include the chart every single fucking time. If you're in an MLM or any kind of network marketing company and they do not provide you a chart, this is your red flag to leave. Because they are literally making it so that you can't talk about any commissions or any benefits of being in this company at all. Otherwise, you're breaking the law every single time. That's why I say Onpassive is set up for you to fail. Onpassive is set up so that every time you talk about income, you're breaking the law. You know? Is he? Missing 6 months? Yeah, I don't know. Operators and participants may make representations about compensation received by non-typical participants as long as the required information about compensation of typical participants is also disclosed at the same time. All right, and that's why I said it's just better to always include the chart, because then even if you fuck up and you accidentally say a wrong amount or do it wrong, having the chart up at least can actually save your ass. So you have to be careful of that. You could end up getting a huge fine just for being in an MLM and doing this wrong. However, reference to non-typical participants should not be made in a way that detracts from the representations regarding typical participants. If you say 15% of participants earn between $8,000 and $10,000, as long as the earnings for typical participants, 60% made between $2,000 and $1,000 and $4,000, were also disclosed. So it's better to always go with the law about what are the most making. Compensation likely to be received. New multi-level marketing plans. Now, this is a brand new one. Just got created. We've time traveled, let's say, back to June of 2018. And Onpassive just became an MLM company. An operator or participant making a representation about compensation in a new MLM plan must disclose the information within his or her knowledge relating to compensation likely to be received by typical participants having regard to any relevant considerations, including the factors listed in paragraph 55(2)(b) of the Act. So the nature of the product, including its price and availability, the nature of the relevant market for the product, the nature of the plan and similar plans, and whether the operator of the plan is a corporation, partnership, proprietorship, or other form of business organization. And that is very, very important. Thank you, babe. Sorry, my husband just gave me something. That is very, very important. So I know a lot of people were like, well, Onpassive hasn't made any income, so they don't need to disclose anything. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of hard for them to disclose anything. However, that doesn't mean that they're then allowed to make illegal income claims. They still have to make an educated income claim, if you will, right? They have to take all of these things into consideration and actually represent what somebody can make. Ash Mufareh has failed to do this completely, as well as everyone in Onpassive. However, the recovering Hunbot, if you go over to hunbot.net, you can see how much money you're going to make. If Ash Mufareh had provided such a tool and then linked it every time that they made an income claim, then he might be looked at as trying to follow these laws, doing some due diligence, you know? But since that's not the case, and they don't even link you to anything when they talk about income, he is unfortunately still breaking all of these laws. An operator or participant making a representation about likely compensation should consider any assumptions made and the resulting compensation estimates to ensure that they are realistic and reliable. Realistic is the key word here. That's the one that Ash again fucks up with. compensation levels in the new MLM plans should be reviewed after 6 months from commencement to ensure that there is no major discrepancy between the disclosure of the stated levels of compensation likely to be received and the levels of compensation actually being received by typical participants in the plan. If you are in a company and after 6 months, nobody has made an income, and an income disclosure cannot be made, that company is a pyramid scheme and is not an MLM company. If you have been in a so-called company for 6 years and you still cannot make an income disclosure statement or one of those pretty charts I just showed you because nobody's made anything, nobody's selling anything, nobody's recruiting, even if you're doing nothing. All right, that doesn't then mean that you're not breaking the law just because you're not actively doing these activities. See, that's where Marty and Chris also fuck up. They think that, oh, well, we're not actually doing anything out here. No, it's still illegal. You're still running an illegal pyramid scheme. The fact that you're not doing anything, that's the problem. Because after 6 months of commencing as a company, you should be doing something. 6 years is almost unheard of. Like, there aren't MLMs that run for 6 years and do not have an income disclosure statement made. Because after 6 months of commencement, you're supposed to be putting one together. Most of them loosely try to look like they're following the laws on paper. Ash hasn't even done that. And because he has not done that, he is setting it up so that if you are an O-founder or distributor, especially here in Canada, you are breaking the law every time that you mention somebody can make even 1 cent off of this. Or every time that you mention that this is going to change someone's life. And here in Canada, it's a civil and criminal offense. So if you've been out here and you're in Canada and you've been doing that for 6 years, I have 6 years of evidence of you committing a criminal offense here. So I want to remind you of that. I hope you're having a lovely Tuesday. Robin Noble and Michael Williams AIM. After 1 year, not 6, the operator of an MLM plan should disclose compensation actually received by typical participants instead of any projected compensation forecasts, because you should not be a company running for 1 full year and have not one person make any compensation. That is illegal. It's illegal. Foreign MLM plan operators wishing to expand operations into Canada may make representations relating to compensation based on that plan's foreign compensation history. In Onpassive, there isn't any provided. Nothing there. Basing information on a foreign history is conditional on the operator establishing that there are sufficient similarities between the foreign MLM plan and the proposed Canadian MLM plan, because you need to do up another one for Canada. You cannot just do one business plan and then have everyone in every country sign that USA plan and have it be legally binding. You have to do a plan for every country following their laws, and that's taking you and your legal team probably a really long time and the rest of your money, isn't it, Mr. Mufara? Yeah, it's hard. And when you do that, they need to include the type of product, market conditions, and the demographic similarities between, the USA, if that's where the MLM is, like in the case of Onpassive, and then Canadian law or whatever other law. Because most places have laws similar to this. Compensation actually received by typical Canadian participants should be used after 1 year and reviewed and updated annually. I believe in the USA, you have to do it biannually, like every 2 years. Here in Canada, it's every year. You have to have an updated income disclosure every year. Hello, naysayers. Good to see you, Go-Go. Fair, reasonable, and timely disclosure, meaning that you cannot, come on here, make an income claim, wait 6 months, and then be like, oh yeah, by the way, here's the disclosure. The Act requires that representations relating to compensation constitute or include fair, reasonable, and timely disclosure of information within the knowledge of the person making the representations relating to compensation actually received or likely to be received by typical participants. The Bureau considers that in order for disclosure to be fair, reasonable, and timely, it must be accurate, be clear, example of an appropriate size in legible font, if written at an appropriate speed, if oral, and presented in a comprehensible manner. Not like Ash comes out here, blabbles on for 6 hours, and then a bunch of people have to try to translate what he says. Be presented in close proximity to any other representation relating to compensation. Example, on the same page of a written document or immediately before or after the representation in an oral or audio video presentation. So all those Bill Musk productions, they all need to start including some kind of income disclosure statement that Ash better provide to you. Have similar prominence to other representations, example, not buried in a footnote in teeny tiny font that no one can see, like some of you MLMs are still doing out there. I see you. Relate to compensation of typical participants. Again, typical participants. Not average. No. The typical number. Include a description of the amount of time and effort that would be necessary to earn a particular level of compensation under the MLM plan. So if most people got to diamond level, what did they have to do to get there? What does that entail? Most people made this amount and they had this many legs under them, and it took them 6 months to get there. You have to include that information as well. So, a non-passive would be like, last year, people have made $0 doing nothing. Ensure that prospective participants learn what a typical participant would earn in a year. Be available to participants and prospective participants looking for information about compensation levels. Be available to them. That means that if they're asking you a question about their compensation, you are not allowed to block them from your chat, tell them not to bring it up, ignore them, or etc. They're allowed to ask. It's illegal for you to not make this information available and then refuse to give it to them like that. And then be updated after 6 months of operation in the case of a new MLM plan, and annually thereafter, using the most recent findings and data regarding what its participants earn. Again, I don't see that. I don't see that with Onpassive at all. Hello, Mark B. Hope you're having a good one. Tell Ella we've missed her. I mean, like, Ash isn't doing any of these, and again, people can't even ask. That's an issue in itself. Not just because it's culty behavior, but like I keep saying, it's illegal. You can't be doing that. Even in the US, you also have to make this information just as available. Although I believe in most places in the US, it's instead of annually, it's every 2 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but the last time I covered it, I believe it was every 2 years that you have to update the income disclosure. Here it's annually. Again, that includes foreign MLMs. So if you're an MLM in the USA, Australia, the UK, Japan, like anywhere, and you have Huns here in Canada, then to stick with Canadian laws, you have to update it annually. I'd be doing it annually if I was you. Let's get into the due diligence and what exactly that means, because I completely define it here for us. Right? What does it mean for, if Ash was going to do his due diligence here to follow these laws, what does that mean? And is he doing it, do you think? Just think about that as we go through. Pursuant to Section 55 2.1, an operator may be prosecuted if improper representations relating to compensation are made by participants or by representatives of the operator. So that includes anyone that's marketing, basically, right? Like if people are out here marketing the business, then they would be considered a representative. All of the Huns, all of the O founders. To avoid liability under this section, the operator, i.e. Ash Mufareh, sir, must establish that he or she took reasonable precautions and exercised due diligence to ensure either that A, participants or representatives of the operator do not make representations relating to compensation, or B, any such representations constitute or include fair, reasonable, and timely disclosure. So are you stopping the people in your MLM from making illegal income claims? Are you ensuring that they include an income disclosure? Is there a compliance team that's like doing anything here to ensure this? Or are you just coming out on a webinar every now and again and yelling at people, telling them that they have to stop doing these things? Because that doesn't count as due diligence, I don't believe. In order to establish due diligence, operators must make sufficient efforts, I guess it doesn't, see, to communicate their policies and procedures regarding compensation representations to all participants of the plan. Do you have a business plan that outlines to the O founders what they can and cannot say in terms of income statements? And what will happen to them if they break that? Is there any consequences for that? As well, operators must demonstrate that sufficient efforts to prevent wrongdoing are in place and any wrongdoing is corrected. Operators are encouraged to clearly and frequently communicate their policies and procedures about compensation representations to participants and prospective participants. That's never done in Onpassive. In addition, operators should implement effective sanctions against those participants who do not comply with those policies and procedures. In short, the greater the effort by operators to ensure that participants are aware of and follow their policies, the more likely that due diligence would be established. Another thing you need to know is that if Ash does start doing those things and due diligence is established, you personally, as the Hunbot, get the fine for breaking the law instead of Ash Mufara. Then the SEC can come after you instead of just Ash Mufara. Ash seems to have failed badly on this. Oh yeah, a lot. So, you gotta have some kind of compliance. That's why most of these companies have their compliance. And oftentimes, if you make too many illegal income claims, it's like a 3 strike, you're out thing. And then you actually lose your position in the MLM. And this is how they kind of force the CEOs of MLMs to follow the rules. Because it's like, well, if you're not doing your due diligence, then we're going to come after you. And Ash has not done any of his due diligence here. So right now, he would be the only one really held responsible for all of this. Because they, again, like I keep saying, leadership comes from the top. This is what I mean. If Ash isn't out here establishing all these things and forcing other people to follow in his footsteps and follow these laws and regulations, he's held accountable. If he's doing his due diligence to try to force Huns to follow these laws and regulations and put income disclosures in, etc., and then they still don't listen, then he can blame them. But since he's not doing it, it's on him. As indicated in the Bureau's Information Bulletin on Corporate Compliance Programs, a credible and effective corporate compliance program, again, do you have a corporate compliance program? Compliance team? Is it just Julie? And documented evidence of compliant measures, which means that you're keeping data and you're keeping track. I don't even know if he keeps track of who signed up in this thing, It may support a claim of due diligence by enabling a business to demonstrate that it took reasonable steps to avoid contravening the law. The 5 essential elements that should be incorporated in any corporate compliance program are Ash, Marty, Chris, get a pen and paper, write this down. Senior management involvement and support. Senior management would be having Muhammad Kamal take over it. Corporate compliance policies and procedures. Not just the ones that you sort of wrote up in your little affiliate agreement. You have to have them outlined separately, very detailed, and clear. Training and education. That does not just mean having Marty and Chris do training webinars. It means that the actual corporation has to have some kind of training and education that they're doing themselves. In other words, the Onpassive has a website and then also has a YouTube channel, and they're pumping out videos that are teaching you how to promote the business while staying within these laws and not breaking any of these laws, and then explaining to you what will happen if you break them. None of that is done. Instead, the Onpassive YouTube channel just pumps out Bill Musk productions. So it's useless. About a year ago, Chris and Marty went on a crusade to remind founders not to make income claims and acted like they would never make income claims. Well, they have been for 6 years. So, because you're not including an income disclosure in any of them, that's 6 years of illegal income claims. So it says, obtaining a written opinion from the Bureau about a proposed MLM plan and ensuring that the plan is operated in the manner described in the opinion request may also assist in establishing due diligence. When we get there, we'll get into like, what does that mean, or written opinions, and we'll talk about if Ash did that or not, you think. Here's another example. So the circumstances: a participant eager to recruit other participants into an MLM plan tells a prospective participant that he can earn $1,000 a week under the MLM plan. And it says if this representation does not constitute or is not accompanied by fair, reasonable, and timely disclosure of the compensation received by or likely to be received by typical participants, the participant has likely broken subsection 55.2. In addition, the MLM plan operator has likely broken subsection 55.2.1 unless they establish that he or she took reasonable precautions and exercised due diligence to ensure that participants comply with subsection 55.2.2. So in other words, was there a compliance team that saw this post and wrote this person and let them know that they have to include an income disclosure statement? Because if that's there, then you could maybe argue, yes, I've done my due diligence. And they've, it says what constitutes fair, reasonable, and timely disclosure is discussed in section 6.3. So another example that they give is the circumstances: the operator of an MLM plan prohibits participants from making representations relating to compensation earned by participants in the MLM plan. The operator has clearly communicated this policy to participants in the promotional material it has supplied, including the distributor agreement signed by each participant. The operator reiterates this policy at company functions, such as its annual meeting. Consider the following two different scenarios. So A is references to the policy at annual meetings are generally met with derisive laughter because the operator does not enforce it, and most participants consider it not worth the paper it's written on. There are frequent incidents in which participants make representations about inflated compensation. Onpassive. Or B, the operator also monitors seminars promoting the MLM plan. Incidents in which participants make representations related to compensation are rare, and the operator takes effective corrective measures against those participants who do not follow its policy. So the first is an example where due diligence could be established by the operator. Could not be established by the operator, right? People aren't taking it seriously. It's not worth the paper it's written on. He just kind of comes out here every once in a while, does a webinar, and goes, stop making those damn illegal income claims, people. Or he gets Marty and Chris to come out here and say it, you know? And I'd argue that that's where Ash Mufareh is. But in this case, the second, B, he could argue if he was doing those things and telling people that were making illegal income claims not to do it, and they were getting emails from compliance, and they were getting told they would have to switch the post around, change it, or include an income disclosure, then they could say that Ash took due diligence. Just one more example here. And then we'll take a short break before we get into the features of a scheme of pyramid selling. So example 4 is A company operates an MLM plan in which participants make representations relating to compensation. Right? So you're in an MLM, and the people in there go, yeah, you can get compensation in this thing. You make commission. The operator gives participants and prospective participants information relating to compensation received by typical participants in the MLM plan. In other words, the company gives them an income disclosure statement. The information is dated, and the operator has not reviewed the information to ensure that it remains accurate. So it wasn't updated annually. It's from 7 years ago, and it's way off. The numbers are way off. It's not at all what a typical person would make. And they say that this example outlines a situation where a due diligence defense could not be established by the operator. If participant makes representations related to compensation that are inaccurate because the information was not updated by the operator. In other words, if the operator of an MLM does not provide an income disclosure statement to everyone involved in the MLM, ensure that people understand it, and ensure that people know to post it whenever they talk about any compensation that can be made, then it is the operator's fault. Not the fault of those in the MLM, you know? Right, after years of billion-dollar claims, right? Right? So this is what I mean when I say, Ash could get in a lot of trouble here because it's not even provided. It's been going for 6 years, hasn't got any kind of income disclosure statement. I mean, it would look pretty silly because it would be the typical amount of people in this earn $0. And you don't advance in this company based on how many people you sign up, by the way. You just got to keep recruiting people and then selling these products that you have to buy. But, if he wanted to be an MLM company instead of a pyramid scheme, then everything we just talked about, he would be sort of doing, including income disclosure statements, ensuring that everyone knows to follow these laws and regulations. But I think that, although we've just been talking about Ash and whether or not he breaks the MLM laws, I think when I start describing this to you, the scheme of pyramid selling, you're going to think that Onpassive is more this one. No payouts, no risks. That's what they seem to think, right? They have a bunch of smooth operators. I think you mean more like Michael Jackson. Smooth criminal. Is that Michael Jackson who sang that song? That's what you're thinking of, though. He's more of a smooth criminal. So, yeah, when we come back, we are going to talk about features of a scheme of pyramid selling. Today's video is brought to you by...
Do you have a berserker demon? You may think that's a strange question, but I've dealt with berserker demons. What's a berserker? The word describes ancient Nordic warriors who fought with uncontrollable rage. This is where we get the expression, he was so angry, he went berserk. In the days of Vikings, berserkers would enter a trance before battle to get supernatural strength. They fought with a frenzy. Sound like someone you know? As we say, they lose it. Explosive anger can come from frustration, feeling disrespected, trauma, mental and hormonal issues, and drugs, but uncontrollable rage can be demonic. As an exorcist, I've dealt with berserker demons. If you've got one, you'll need more than anger management therapy. You may need an exorcism of a berserker demon of anger. That's inhuman. I'm here to help at boblarson.org.
Whoa, looks like you got a bit of a tangle in your dangle. Did you know that more than 8 out of 10 hose owners die each year? Not anymore. Hey, turn me on and watch my hose get huge. My mom always told me I was a grower, not a shower, and boy was she right. And if you squeeze me in the right spot, all my raging fluids will come flying out of me, and instantly I'll retract to my small, natural, convenient size. Amazing! Oh, yep. Shout outs to all my flowers and growers out there. And just like a real snake, it can contract and expand like an accordion. You know, we really wanted to name it the Snake Hose, but that's the title of a gay porno. I mean, I've never seen it, but lizard's close enough. This is my next door neighbor, Sharon. She didn't know I was filming her. She also didn't know I had my hose in my hand, too. If your hose weighs more than 15 pounds, I feel sorry for you. You see, women prefer light, dainty, petite hoses. You don't want to be walking around with a big honking nanner. Oh, Sharon. Whoa, watch the whoa, don't get it caught on the thing. Whoa. Hey, buddy, watch where you're going. You don't want to end up like that guy, still using a standard hose, not going anywhere, and he's fucking bald. Fuck! Look at my hose, people. Oh, yeah, it's growing fast, and it's not kinking up anytime soon. Now, I don't know who lives here, but it's time to wake up. Behold, the full length and girth of my hose and its full potential. Hey, can't you see I'm filming a commercial here, you fucking asshole? Wah! Take that, fuckboy! No one fucks with my hose! The lizard hose is about $30. You get 25 feet. That's like, just a little bit more than $1 per foot. Now, fuck it, we'll give you 2. That's 50 feet. Get fucked. Come on, touch it.
Wait, do you have a condom? You don't have one somewhere? Yes. Oi, excuse me there, sir. Do you have these directions? Sure, you just go down that way and make a turn. Don't let her know that your dinger is almost a no-go. Get Tiny Dinger condoms to you discreetly. It's very important to choose the right size, so make sure that you get your tiny size. Don't be caught without a condom. No. Get Tiny Dinger condoms, a YouTube streamer's favorite brand. Located at your local CVS pharmacy, Rexall, Shoppers Drug Mart, Walmart, and in your favorite streamer's nightstand. We get it. You're into feet, and not many girls are also into feet, but you finally found your dream woman. We got your souls covered now. Brought to you by the same people who brought to you Tiny Dinger condoms, trademarked, a YouTube streamer's favorite brand, and the same people who brought to you Sexual Endorphin Spray, trademarked. We have now created the Foot Fetish Fantasia Spray. When you're rubbing on her toes, take a deep breath in and smell the sweet aromas of the toilet bowl, the tire shop, dead flowers, and your nana's perfume. After all, it will turn you on more than just her pinky toe will. This little piggy has been to the market and grabbed themselves a bottle of the Foot Fetish Fantasia Spray, trademarked. It made it so much easier to wake to my ex-girlfriend's feet after she posted up her beach trip vacay photos. Grab your bottle now and make that nasty foot fragrance vanish just like a ghost. Located at CVS Pharmacy, Shoppers Drug Mart, Rexall, Walmart, Kmart, Chaz R Us, and in your favorite foot fetishist nightstand. Are you getting upset with people's freedom of speech and consumer protection laws that allow the public to speak out about your scam? Are you giving YouTube creators false strikes in order to continue preying on vulnerable people? Is it getting hard to hold it in? Hold in all the bullshit? Well, introducing Tiny Digger Diapers, the adult diaper designed for the man baby deep down inside who's always on the way to the top where his ears will pop. With our FlexiFit technology, Tiny Digger Diapers moves with you whenever you sit on your chair, sit in your RV, sit on a boat, or sit in your home office paid for by the people you scam. The Secure Lock Core offers unmatched absorption for when you're full of shit, which is most likely all the time. These diapers keep you dry and comfortable so you can attend all 500 hours of webinars this week and not miss your chance to sign up a homeless man to your scam. Maybe he also needs the diapers, huh? Brought to you by the same people who brought to you Tiny Digger condoms and Fantasia foot spray. Buy Tiny Digger diapers today. Located at Shoppers Drug Mart, Rexall, Walmart, Target, your local CVS pharmacy, and in your favorite con artist nightstand. No matter where your day takes you from webinar to webinar, you will always be dry and you won't have to cry. Thank you for listening to a message from today's sponsor.
Yeah, I don't want to worry anyone, but the recovering Hunbot is in Houston, where the big tornado has just hit, and she had lost power and tried to do the migration for as long as she could for us. And it angers me that she's put more work into updating founders on what's going on with the migration and their company than Ash Mufareh has. Just thought I'd throw that out there. It's his job, not hers. But it is our jobs to kind of try and do what he's not doing, right? That's kind of what we're here for. But unfortunately, she did lose power, and I have not heard from her in a couple days. I'm hoping that she's just without power, and maybe the phones died, the laptops died. There's no way to get online. So I hope that everything is going well. Maybe just send her lots of love so that when she does return, she knows that everybody's been thinking of her. As far as I know, she's okay. She was okay last we heard, which was kind of at the end of the tornado. So hopefully, it went through and didn't hit her area too hard. But they do have a lot of places without power right now in Houston still. It's taking a while for them to kind of clean up after this. It was a big tornado. So just, keep her in your thoughts. I'm sure that she would also, by the way, like you to help the anti-MLM community. I just want to show you guys, you can go to Michelle Carpenter's website, out of MLM.info. I have the link right here. It's pinned in my pinned comment. And if you don't know who your local representative is, you can come here to this website, house.gov, representatives, find your local representative. I will also link this in the chat for you. And what you do is you just come in here, enter your zip code, and it will tell you who your representative is. So Michelle's site will help you write up the letter. And all you have to do is copy and paste it from Michelle's website into an email. Most of them have an email, or print it out, throw it in a letter, and send it off. But this is the website here. If you don't know who your representative is, you come in and they'll give you your local representative for anyone in the US. This is for US residents. I know I'm in Canada. We're talking about Canadian laws today, but you guys really have a chance to kind of do something to make a difference here and to stop them from taking away basically laws that are very similar to the ones here in Canada that I'm reading. They want to remove the laws of MLMs having to give disclosure statements. And if you do this, you will help stop them from changing those laws and making it harder for us to stop MLMs out here from breaking laws. All right. If we don't regulate businesses, then they can do whatever the fuck they want to you. It's to protect the public from being scammed, from giving businesses the right to do whatever they want to you with no repercussions. Lie in marketing, lie about income claims, do spammy things, steal your information. And we need to protect the public from them changing these laws. Fortunately, the USA is a little bit corrupt, and the people in your government make a lot of money off of MLMs. Done a couple streams on it in the past where we've broken down how a lot of your lobbyists are in MLMs, so they are often trying to change the laws there. And we might come out here every year or two and ask you guys to do a call to action. This is the one this year. Please go do this one. I feel like every year we come out here, we're like, hey, can you guys like do a video explaining why they shouldn't change the MLM laws, or how MLMs have hurt you, or can you help us right into this place? But hey, if we weren't doing that, what would we be doing out here? Just doing live streams? I mean, like I said, it's great to spread awareness, but this is the stuff that's really, really important, is doing things like this. So come and find out who your representative is and help stop them from changing the laws and basically taking away laws like this away from the USA. We're a little bit more protected here in Canada. These laws haven't changed in quite a long time. I think the last time, I'll have to double check again, but I believe it was like 1993 or something. They update them to kind of stay in, up to date with the times and technology and whatnot, but they haven't tried to take them away from us yet. So, if they ever do, I might ask you to help me write Canadian lawmakers. I think Julie should update the founders about the migration status. What else does Ash pay his tech support for, right? I mean, she's allegedly the tech support, isn't she? Isn't she? My God, is Ash, sir. What a religion to be in. I wrote my rep. Go Jelly! The congressmen, senators are the most corrupt people on the planet. They are immune from insider trading laws. Yep. And it's a big problem. There's people trying to change that even. If the Onpassive employees are going on strike, someone should video record it and interview the Onpassive employees who are going on strike. Would be great to post the videos on YouTube for evidence. We would have to find somebody in Hyderabad that would be willing to do that, because unfortunately, I don't think myself or the recovering Hunbot has the funds to make the trip for us. Make the trip for us. Otherwise, we totally would. By the way, like I would totally go do it. It's just I don't have the funds to go do that. So I would never ask of that because we don't need it. But if there are any whistleblowers in the Hyderabad area, hit me up. Hit me up. Send me your stuff. Send me your evidence. I would love to help spread it. It's good to get it out here. And also, if people in one area kind of revolt against this thing, start demanding answers, maybe it will light a fire under some people's asses. You know what I mean? It would be epic. It would. So now we're going to get into the features of a scheme of pyramid selling and why it's different from an MLM. So, compensation for the recruitment of others. Paragraph 55.11a of the Act defines a scheme of pyramid selling as those situations in which participants give consideration, including cash or any other benefit. So it doesn't have to be cash. It could be even a gift card, to join an MLM plan and in turn have the right to receive consideration when others are recruited into the MLM plan. The terms recruitment bonuses and headhunting fees are often used to refer to such situations. So an example, circumstance. An operator initiates an MLM plan in which a prospective participant pays $150 to be eligible to receive $50 for each person they recruit into the MLM plan, who would also be required to pay $150. The MLM plan falls within the definition of a scheme of pyramid selling because the participant receives $50 as a compensation for each prospective participant they recruit. This will likely raise an issue under subsection 55.12 of the Act. Another example is an operator initiates an MLM plan in which prospective participants who have paid to join this MLM plan are required to recruit a certain number of other prospective participants into the MLM plan before they are eligible to receive compensation or attain a higher level of compensation. So it's there's a thin line here. It says this MLM plan falls within the definition of a scheme of pyramid selling, as the MLM plan requires participants to pay to join it and only provides the right to receive compensation when they recruit other prospective participants into the plan. This would also raise an issue in Section 55.12 of the Act. So pursuant to paragraph 55.11b of the Act, an MLM plan may not have as a condition of participating in the MLM plan a requirement to purchase a product at a price above the seller's cost. In addition, an MLM plan may not require existing participants to purchase products above cost in order to attain a higher commission or benefit level. Paragraph 55.11b allows a requirement to purchase products at the seller's cost for the purpose of facilitating sales. Accordingly, a plan is not likely to raise an issue under this paragraph if a participant is required to purchase a starter kit, again, which includes manual, directives, product samples, promotional materials, at the seller's cost. And this is why I say, again, products for the purpose of facilitating sales includes these things: manual, directives, product samples, promotional materials, business cards, things like that. It does not include the video conferencing app that's also for sale as a product. That's not included in this. And since when you're in Onpassive, you have to buy the products in order to make withdrawable money from the product, it's a pyramid scheme. It breaks that law. An MLM plan may not have a requirement to purchase a product which is at a price above the seller's cost. This applies whether the purchase requirement is an explicit condition or an implicit de facto condition. In determining whether an MLM plan includes a requirement to purchase product, the Bureau considers factors including the following: whether sales are made to participants at a price that exceeds the seller's cost and are not accompanied by a commercially reasonable buyback guarantee. Whether the plan directly or indirectly promotes purchases of product by participants solely to achieve sales requirements or maintain compensation levels. And that includes you have to buy this product in order to receive a compensation, like a withdrawable commission. Whether the plan requires the sale of product to receive compensation, reach a level of compensation, or maintain a level of compensation in the marketing plan. And if so, whether the purchases made by a participant are in commercially reasonable quantities given the nature of the product. The purchases made by a participant reflect sales that can be expected to be achieved over a reasonable period of time given the nature and price of the product. And the terms offered by the seller for the return of the product are commercially reasonable. There is no way to return product, then you got a problem. Whether the product is meant for sale to non-participants of the plan, and the nature of the product involved in the plan. Example, is it a tangible good, a membership, etc.? What's it for? The Bureau will consider each MLM plan on a case-by-case basis in determining whether participants are required to purchase product to participate in the plan. While purchase requirements are likely to contravene this section, sale requirements involving the sale of a product or products to non-participants of the plan are not likely to contravene this section. So this is more about the sales of the products to the other distributors, not customers. So, example, an operator establishes an MLM plan in which a participant, as a condition of entry, must purchase $75 of product samples at the seller's cost to allow the participant to demonstrate the operator's various products. Or you must purchase an O-Connect webinar. This MLM plan is not likely to fall within the definition of a scheme of pyramid selling, as the product is purchased at the seller's cost to facilitate sales. That means it was something like, again, business cards. It's like something that you'd see in a starter kit. And if that's the case, then it's not likely an issue under the Act. Here we go. An operator, another example, an operator establishes an MLM plan promoting widgets. Participants have the option to purchase a training package at a price higher than the seller's cost. After purchasing a training package, a new participant gains the right to sell training packages to new participants. Participants receive a monetary bonus each time they sell a training package to another participant. It says this MLM plan appears to promote two products, widgets and training. Participants who choose to sell training are required to purchase training themselves as a condition of participating in the training aspect of the plan and at a price higher than the seller's cost. The requirement to purchase an above-cost training package before a participant can sell training packages is likely to raise an issue under paragraph 55.11b. In addition, the compensation paid for the training package and the associated right to receive compensation for recruiting and training new participants, who may in turn pay for the same right, is likely to raise an issue as a recruitment bonus under paragraph 55.11a. If the training package were sold at the seller's cost or participants were not required to purchase a training package in order to provide training, there would likely not be an issue under the Act. So a way that MLMs usually get around this one is they make it optional to purchase the starter kit, right? Most of the MLMs you don't have to. Example 9. An operator establishes an MLM plan that requires participants to sign up for a program in which a specified amount of the product, which is priced higher than the operator's cost, is automatically shipped and billed to participants on a monthly basis through an auto ship program. Or if you must purchase OConnect every 4 months. Might break the law here. This MLM plan is likely to fall within the definition of a scheme of pyramid selling, paragraph 55.11b of the Act, as participants are required to purchase a specified quantity of the product on a monthly basis in order to participate in the MLM plan. If this is a case, there is likely an issue under the Act. An optional auto ship program would generally not raise an issue under the Act, and they would have to decide if an optional auto ship program with the two wallets, is one withdrawable and one non-withdrawable. Does that count as being optional? Because here in Onpassive, you would have to buy the products in order to make money off of the products and, do the MLM plan. Participate in the MLM plan. So, not allowed to do that. Then we get into inventory loading. Monthly POV at a discount. If it's supposedly sold, I guess that would be legal. Yeah, if it's at a discount, this is why a lot of MLMs offer a HUN discount. It's to get around some of these laws. Because then it is not costing the MLM HUNs more than it would a customer. It's the opposite. They usually get a discount on the stuff. And that's kind of the loophole that they found, right? I hope more people start realizing that Onpassive is probably never going to actually pay them real money. Me too. So inventory loading is something that's kind of talked about a lot in the anti-MLM sphere. And it defines a scheme of pyramid selling as those situations in which an operator or a participant in an MLM plan supplies products to participants in amounts that he or she knows are commercially unreasonable. Would you be able to sell them? In other words, there can be no inventory loading. The amount considered commercially unreasonable is based on considerations such as the type of product, the selling price of the product, the size of the market, the number of participants, the number of competitors, and the sales history of the products. Ash may have been guilty of doing inventory loading when he told everyone to make multiple accounts and then told people to buy OConnect in each of those different accounts. That could be considered as inventory loading. You would only need one OConnect for all your devices, right? But he wants you to have several different accounts so that you have several different Onpassive businesses and several different streams of incomes. And then each of those accounts has to buy a new OConnect. And some could argue that that's inventory loading, especially since he told people, open up as many accounts as you can, buy as many OConnects as you can. But we do have an example. So, an operator establishes an MLM plan in which participants are supplied with large quantities of product following entry into the MLM plan. Like a whole bunch of LuLaRoe leggings. The market for the product is depressed due to the substantial number of competing companies. Numerous participants in the same geographic market have recently joined the MLM plan and have also purchased large quantities of products, like a whole bunch of people in PNG all opening up different accounts, thousands of accounts, and then all purchasing OConnect, let's say. And then there's oversaturation in a small community because everyone there did it. This situation may fall within the definition of a scheme of pyramid selling, as the facts suggest that the operator knows or ought to know that the participants are unlikely to be able to sell the large quantity of products supplied. If this is the case, there is likely an issue under the Act. Buyback guarantee or right to return. Now, here's the thing. MLMs under Canada law, and even under the US law, I believe, you guys also have a similar rule here. You cannot have just no return policy and no buyback guarantee, no nothing. Under paragraph 55(1)(1)(d) of the Act, MLM plans must have a buyback guarantee or a right to return the product in saleable condition on reasonable commercial terms. And yes, that does include SAAS. Participants must also be informed of the buyback guarantee or right and how it can be exercised. Should always be a return policy in an MLM. If there is no return policy, it's not an MLM, it's a pyramid scheme. Factors to be considered in determining what constitutes reasonable commercial terms include, but are not limited to, the type of product, the cost of the product, the condition of the product, whether the product is damaged or otherwise unsaleable, and this only works if it is damaged or otherwise unsaleable because of something that the distributor did or customer did. And if you don't believe me, you can go and check out the company LuLaRoe and find out what happened to them when they were sending out damaged leggings all over the internet and how they got shut down. That they thought that they would get away with it because of this, right? But I'm sorry, they damaged the products, therefore it doesn't apply. Is it damaged or otherwise unsaleable because the person returning it did something to it? Has to be them. The commercial reasonableness of any limits on the number of items or the frequency with which a participant may return a product under the MLM plan. The number of days a participant has to return a product after purchasing it. A requirement to return product within 30 days or more will generally not be considered commercially unreasonable. You can be like, we don't want the product after a month, and that's pretty reasonable. It has to kind of go with, like, is it a reasonable time? Like, has it been 3 years since you purchased the product and now you're coming over here trying to get a refund? Like, then the company does have a right to be like, excuse me, you had it for 3 years, The percentage of the participants' cost refunded. So is it like 80%? Is it 100%? Do they just have to pay for shipping? What's going on there? Any consequences, including termination, if a participant returns product. In other words, you cannot terminate someone as a distributor in the MLM if they do a return. That would be illegal. And the product return policies of other companies offering similar products. So it's always good, like I said, to know what other people on the market are doing, what your competitors are doing. All right. If all of your competitors are giving returns up to 60 days, and then you come out here and you say, okay, I'm only going to give returns for a week, and someone makes a complaint, they're going to look at those other companies and be like, well, most of them give 60 days. We don't find a week to be reasonable. So it's good to know what your competitors are doing. The buyback guarantees of some MLM plans provide for the termination of participants who exercise their right to return product. The Bureau may consider the terms of a buyback guarantee commercially unreasonable if a return of product will result in termination. A return policy must not create an incentive for a participant to accumulate products rather than return them to the operator. However, termination on buyback will not be considered commercially unreasonable if A. The product return indicates the participant's intention to not continue in the plan. If a participant returns a product that is required in order to participate in the plan and the required product purchase otherwise complies with Section 55.1 of the Act. So it can't be something that they're like forced to buy in order to participate, right? B, the participant returns all product on hand. Are they returning it all or just part of it, you know? They did not get a chance to return OConnect within 30 days. Ash stopped refunds on September 1st, 2023. Exactly, and that's illegal. There has to be some kind of return policy, and a legal one, ethical one. And he doesn't even have one. So again, B, the participant returns all product on hand, or C, the product return constitutes an abuse of the return policy. For example, if a participant returns product with excessive frequency, or if the circumstances of a return suggest that the product was purchased with an intention to return it after qualifying for bonus compensation. And this is a thing because there was a time when MLMs would have these deals where you could join them for like $10. And so a bunch of people would join and like sell the products, make their very first bonus, and then they would all try to return the starter kits. And for a time, the MLMs were kind of like, okay, this isn't fair. Don't do this to us. And so they were like, okay, well, you know, we got to make the laws fair for everybody involved, I guess. So you can't do that anymore, you know? You can get in trouble for that now. So an operator establishes, this is an example. An operator establishes an MLM plan featuring the sale of widgets. Again, a participant who orders widgets is entitled to return any or all of the widgets in saleable condition at the participant's expense within 30 days and will be reimbursed 90% of the participant's cost. The operator has made the terms of the policy known in promotional material. That means like when they're selling it, they also have to let you know what the return policy is. And an agreement signed by participants. You know, like the affiliate agreements. The policy and related procedures are also discussed at seminars, and participants are trained to inform prospective participants about them prior to recruitment. And again, this is why like MLM companies, if they are going to exist, they are also responsible for like training. And that's again something that you don't see in Onpassive, right? Ash doesn't have any training videos where he's teaching people how to properly sell products or what to say and what to include to ensure that they're following the laws. Like there's none of that. None of it exists for Onpassive. But, you know, if the person that runs the MLM is doing all of those things, right, and making sure everyone knows prior to recruitment. Like, those are the things that you have to explain to people. And then the 10% restocking fee defrays the operator's reasonable shipping and handling expenses, and the operator does not earn a profit on product return. Okay? This is basically the only way that you can ensure as an operator that you're protecting yourself is by doing these things that they just listed. This return policy is not likely to fall within the definition of a scheme of pyramid selling, as the operator's return policy appears to be on reasonable commercial terms. If this is the case, there is not likely an issue under the Act. So it's okay to ask for like a 10% restocking fee, but if they had asked for a 50% restocking fee, it would be different. Then maybe there would be a problem, right? Another example. An operator establishes an MLM plan that promotes a full line of widgets. This time it's a full line of widgets. Woo! Participants have the right to return a product in saleable condition for a full refund, less 10% for the cost incurred by the operator, but the operator has the right to terminate a participant that returns product. A participant is successful in selling all of the product line of widgets, with the exception of one of the products. Whether or not the terms of a right of return are reasonable depends on various factors. Termination from an MLM plan as a consequence of returning one product in the circumstance of this example would likely be considered commercially unreasonable. And the thing here is that Ashley Farah makes it sound like if you return O-Connect, then you can just fucking get out of Onpassive. And that's not right either. Okay? Like, he can't be like, you have to buy O-Connect to make money, and if you return it, then we're going to terminate you. You obviously don't appreciate our products, blah, 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 blah. That can't be a thing. You can't get... And nothing can happen to you for returning a product in any company. It's illegal, like, in any way. Right? Even legit businesses can't do something to you because you returned a product. Just caught up on the chat now. I think there might be an imposter because I haven't released any of my Onpassive songs yet. Also, I don't know what Onpassive Nation is. Onpassive Nation is supposed to be Marty and Dan and Mike Ellis's name for their, like, downline of Huns. It's kind of flattering. So is that not you up there? Are you saying that there's an imposter? There's an imposter? Anyway, you cannot be terminated from an MLM for returning a product. You cannot be, like, even get in trouble in your MLM for returning a product. You cannot get an email from corporate or, like, an email from your upline even. Let's say you're in the MLM and you return a product, your upline, like, writes you and is all like, why did you return that product? And they're being a bitch to you. That can't happen either. That's also, you know, we're in illegal territory then too. One more example they give us says, an operator establishes an MLM plan that provides participants of the MLM plan with the right to return product and to be reimbursed for the product. A participant of the MLM plan has purchased a certain quantity of products from the operator for the purpose of qualifying for sales bonuses. And it's funny because MLM Huns do this all the time. The participant has difficulty selling the product and returns the product. The operator requires all bonuses received on that product to be repaid. And it says this MLM plan is not likely to fall within the definition of a scheme of pyramid selling, as the bonus repayment clause is likely to be commercially reasonable. So careful. If you buy a bunch of products just to hit your rank and then you later on go to return those products, they're allowed to ask for the bonuses that they paid you for that rank. They're allowed. So careful with that one. Excuse me. Now we're going to get into what is written opinions. It was briefly discussed earlier, so now we'll know. Imagine if half the founders who bought OConnect asked for a refund. Ash is already out of money. He does not have the money to refund anyone. And here's the thing is that you're not supposed to be all out of money either, right? That just goes to show you that it's a pyramid scheme. If you need people to buy the stuff for you to continue on, like, come on. People aren't buying, people aren't recruiting. Everything just sits here and they don't do anything. What? You mean I can't return all the Amway breast spray? No, you can't. No, you can't. I mean, you can. But if you were in Amway and used it to rank up and you return it, they're allowed to be like, okay, but then you have to pay us the bonuses now because you bought this shit yourself. What the hell? Instead of like selling it. I think that also has something to do with it, right? You buying it yourself versus selling it to the customer. That's where the return gets iffy. So what is a written opinion? What the hell does that mean? So it says the Bureau facilitates compliance with the law by providing written opinions pursuant to Section 124.1 of the Act, subject to a fee. A written opinion provided under Section 124.1 is binding on the Commissioner. It remains binding for as long as the material facts on which the written opinion was based remain substantially unchanged and the conduct or practice is carried out substantially as proposed. Company officials, lawyers, and others are encouraged to request a written opinion as to whether the implementation of a proposed business plan or practice would raise an issue under the Act. In other words, it's kind of like sending it in to just kind of be like, hey, is this good? Does this go through all the laws? And I wonder if that's what Ash was talking about when he said that him and his lawyers were trying to figure out if they were following all the laws. I hope that he was requesting written opinions, but, we can only hope, I guess, But I did make some songs, though they were too spicy as they touched on themes like famine and Doc Benny's involvement and such, but I might start putting them out. Did one about the PNG Army guy, too, is CJ. Do it! Or send them to me. I'll make you a music video. Keep the Amway hand sanitizer. It never goes bad, and you can sell it to Muslim countries to get drunk. Joe. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa, Joe. The West posted one called Miss You, Oh Yes. My favorite lyric is, you were always a janky piece of shit, but I hold you in my heart. Yeah, that was our song. That was our song we played at the beginning. You're always a janky piece of shit. But I miss you. I miss you. I miss you. Yeah, I was hoping he was doing that, but anyway. A specific written opinion will be based on information provided by the requester and will take into account previous case law, prior written opinions, and the stated policies of the Bureau. The requester should recognize that written opinions are only given in relation to the Act and not in relation to other statutes, such as the Criminal Code. Those who seek a written opinion are not bound by it, and should a negative written opinion be given on the MLM plan, operators remain free to adopt the MLM plan in question, recognizing that the matter may be prosecuted in the courts. Such written opinions are prepared in relation to a specific set of facts. Should an MLM plan that is implemented be different from the MLM plan presented to the Bureau, or should conditions change in a way that materially affects the MLM plan, the MLM plan could be subject to further examination. A person seeking to apply for a written opinion under Sections 55 and 55(1) of the Act can submit their request in writing to the Bureau's Information Center. The application for the written opinion must include the relevant supporting information and the appropriate fee. For more information on the written opinion program or for contact information related to a request under other provisions of the Act, please refer to the Fee and Service Standards Policy and Handbook, which can be provided on this website. The following are requirements when applying for a written opinion under Section 124.1 of the Act. So this is a good way to know what should be in the affiliate agreement, and the MLM plan. So, disclosure of all relevant information. In order for the Bureau to provide an informed written opinion, adequate disclosure of all material facts relating to the proposed MLM plan is required. The more complete and accurate the information provided, the less the Bureau will have to qualify its written opinion. The information that is submitted should include the following: the name of the requester, the name of the proposed business, a description of the compensation plan, the methodology used for determining the compensation of a typical participant, all promotional brochures, training material, presentation scripts, pamphlets, video, audio tapes, a copy of any websites, contractual agreements, product information, product ordering forms, and any other material which provides relevant information related to the MLM plan. So if you don't have certain promotional brochures that you're supposed to be using in your MLM, actual promotional materials given to you and training materials given to you, and you have no scripts on what to say or any of this kind of stuff from the company itself, that's a red flag. Product. The Bureau requires that a product exists at the time of the MLM written opinion request. Because you can't be an MLM without a product, can you? A detailed description of the product should be provided. If a proposed plan includes a representation about the product's performance or efficiency, the Bureau may consider whether it is based on an adequate and proper test in support of the representation. Not subject of investigation. The operator must confirm that the proposed MLM plan is not the subject of an investigation by any other law enforcement agency in Canada or abroad. If this is the case, and if the MLM could not send in a proposed MLM plan for this, then it is illegally operating in Canada. This includes an investigation and litigation by the Security and Exchange Commission in the United States of America, as Onpassive is actually going through right now and being sued for $108 million. Have you considered that Onpassive as a game changer? So, just keep that in mind. Canadian legal entity. Documentation provided by the operator must also indicate that the operator of the MLM plan has been incorporated in Canada, Ash, or alternatively, that there is an individual located in Canada who can be held liable for the actions of the operator. So, who's it going to be, Ash? Do you want it to be Robin Noble? Michael William Mame? Who's going to be held accountable here in Canada for your MLM breaking the law here? I'll give you a few days to think on it, sir. Proposed conduct. The proposed MLM plan should not be presently operating in Canada, nor have active participants, even on a test marketing basis. Generally, the Bureau will deny an applicant's written opinion request if the MLM plan is already operating in Canada. Oops. An exception exists in that certain Canadian provinces, such as Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Nova Scotia, require operators of MLM plans to obtain a favorable written opinion from the Bureau prior to issuing a direct seller's license to operate in their respective provinces. And just like that, Ash, you lose Michael Williams Ames and Robin Noble. Because you can't get this written opinion. You're already operating here. And they can't sell the MLM in their provinces without a direct seller's license, which you have failed to do these things, therefore they can't get one. They need to obtain a favorable written opinion from the Bureau prior to getting their direct seller's license. You failed to do this before, and now you have an SEC litigation in the USA, which means that they would deny you this. So, without a license, they can't promote an MLM, sir. The Bureau will consider issuing written opinions to MLM plan operators who are already engaged in business in one or more provinces but require a written opinion from the Bureau in order to obtain the necessary provincial license to commence business in one of the provinces that impose such conditions. I'm just saying. You vote Michael Williams Ames. Paging Michael Williams. So we had some issues with them operating Onpassive in Canada. Refusal to provide a written opinion. It is the Commissioner's practice not to issue written opinions under Section 55 and 55(1) of the Act in the following situations. Insufficient information is provided for the Bureau to properly assess the proposed MLM plan. There is no legitimate product associated with the proposed MLM plan. The MLM plan is currently under investigation by the Bureau. The MLM plan is currently under investigation by another Canadian or foreign authority, such as the FTC, the FDA, the SEC. The MLM plan has no legal Canadian identity. Oops. The MLM plan is already operating in Canada illegally. The MLM plan involves gold or silver coins, the travel industry, discount cards, or where the product of the MLM plan is training. The MLM plan contains performance representations that are not based on an adequate and proper test. I don't think Ash has that. The MLM plan contains other conduct contrary to the act, or the MLM plan contains conduct contrary to other Canadian legislation. Like, you can't ask people to break the laws, right? So if it's telling people to like go stab people for $5 a month, then it can't be. Then it goes against the criminal code, for example. You know what I'm saying? You can't have people breaking the laws. Don't be doing that. Don't worry, guys. We're almost done. I know some of you find this quite dry. The other conduct contrary to the act. If a proposed MLM plan raises an issue under any other section of the act, the Bureau may decline to issue a written opinion for the MLM plan. It should be noted that only one fee, the highest, applies for a written opinion that might involve multiple sections of the act. As outlined below, one relevant area of potential concern relates to performance claims. It says here, performance claims. Many MLM plans promote the supply or use of their products with representations about their performance or efficiency. Under paragraph 74.011b, the Act requires that any representation to the public in the form of a statement, warranty, or guarantee about the performance, efficiency, or length of life of a product be based on an adequate and proper test thereof. Which means that, for example, if you are running an SaaS company and you have products that you claim use AI, you should have adequate and proper tests that show what the AI is and what it does and etc. Just as a rough example. It is the applicant's responsibility to ensure that representations related to performance, efficiency, or length of life of the product are based on an adequate and proper test. The Bureau may exercise its discretion to refuse to provide a written opinion if it has concerns that the representations are not based on an adequate and proper test. Next section is other Canadian regulatory agencies. If a proposed MLM plan appears to raise an issue under other Canadian legislation, again, like the criminal code, the Bureau may decline to issue a written opinion under the MLM plan provisions. In such circumstances, the Bureau may consult with the department or agency that administers the relevant legislation to determine whether it would be appropriate to issue an MLM written opinion. For example, in the case of a health and wellness company, are they going against Health Canada and breaking laws, making like illegal medical claims? That kind of thing. The Bureau may also notify the applicant of these concerns. So again, it would let you know, like, hey, I think you're breaking some of the laws here with making these illegal income claims, When has Ash ever cared about the laws? Well, he should start now. Just saying. At cost metals, anyone? Yep. I'm sure there's lots of them that are coming to mind. Just saying. Now again, the fun part, the penalties. The penalties upon conviction for contravening the MLM plan provisions are set out in subsection 55.3 of the Act. The penalties upon conviction for contravening the scheme of pyramid selling provisions are set out in subsection 55.13 of the Act. This is how you can contact the Competition Bureau if you want more information about the Competition Act, the Consumer Packaging and Labeling Act, the Textile Labeling Act, the Precious Metals Marking Act, or the Program of Written Opinions, or to file a complaint under any of these acts at all. It's free to file a complaint, if you want to help me out here and file a bunch of complaints about Onpassive breaking these laws here in Canada. That would be fabulous. Feel free to do this. They do have an online reporting system. Let's get right into the Competition Act. This is the Act word for word. So, multi-level marketing plan. 55.1, for the purposes of this section and section 55.1, multi-level marketing plan means a plan for the supply of a product whereby a participant in the plan receives compensation for the supply of the product to another participant in the plan who, in turn, receives compensation for the supply of the same or another product to other participants in the plan. And 2, no person who operates or participates in an MLM plan shall make any representations relating to compensation under the plan to a prospective participant in the plan unless the representations constitute or include fair, reasonable, and timely disclosure of the information within the knowledge of the person making the representations relating to A, compensation actually received by typical participants in the plan, or B, compensation likely to be received by typical participants in the plan, having regard to any relevant considerations, including the nature of the product, including its price and availability, the nature of the relevant market of the product. Again, you got to know what your competition is. The nature of the plan and similar plans, and whether the person who operates the plan is a corporation, partnership, sole proprietorship, or other form of business organization. 2.1. A person who operates a multi-level marketing plan shall ensure that any representations relating to compensation under the plan that are made to a prospective participant in the plan by a participant in the plan or by a representative of the person who operates the plan constitute or include fair, reasonable, and timely disclosure of the information within the knowledge of the person who operates the plan relating to. Excuse me. Again, the compensation actually received by typical participants in the plan, or compensation likely to be received by typical participants in the plan, having regard to any relevant considerations, including those specified in paragraph 2B. In other words, Onpassive needs to get an income disclosure statement put together. Otherwise, every single time that they mention any type of compensation from it, they're breaking laws. 2.2. A person accused of an offense under subsection 2.1 shall not be convicted of the offense if the accused establishes that he or she took reasonable precautions and exercised due diligence to ensure A, that no representations relating to compensation under the plan were made by participants in the plan or by representatives of the accused, or B, that any representations relating to compensation under the plan that were made by participants, the Hunbots, in the plan, or by representatives of the accused, like LCs, constituted or included fair, reasonable, and timely disclosure of the information referred to in that subsection. In other words, if the CEO of your company is not providing you with an income disclosure statement, they are the ones that are to be convicted of the offense, okay? 3, any person who contravenes subsection 2 or 2.1 is guilty of an offense and liable, A, on conviction on indictment to a fine in the discretion of the court or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years in prison or to both. Or B, on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $200,000 Canadian or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 1 year or to both. So yeah, fines and jail time can occur here. Now let's look at scheme of pyramid selling according to the Competition Act. 55.11. For the purposes of this section, scheme of pyramid selling, which still sounds super fancy, means a multi-level marketing plan whereby A, a participant in the plan gives consideration for the right to receive compensation by reason of the recruitment into the plan of another participant in the plan who gives consideration for the same right. B, a participant in the plan gives consideration as a condition of participating in the plan for a specified amount of the product other than a specified amount of the product that is bought at the seller's cost price for the purpose only of facilitating sales. And C, a person knowingly supplies the product to a participant in the plan in an amount that is commercially unreasonable. Or D, a participant in the plan who is supplied with the product that does not have a buyback guarantee that is exercisable on reasonable commercial terms or a right to return the product in saleable condition on reasonable commercial terms, or is not informed of the existence of the guarantee or right in the manner in which it can be exercised. Okay, so according to this, under Canadian law, Onpassive is a pyramid scheme. Scheme of pyramid selling. No person shall establish, operate, advertise, or promote a scheme of pyramid selling. Number 3, any person who contravenes subsection 2 is guilty of an offense and liable. A, on conviction of indictment to a fine in the discretion of the court, which it could be millions of dollars, or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years, or to both. Or B, on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $200,000, or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 1 year, or to both. You're going to want to also know about this. Appendix B, paragraph 206(1)(e) of the Criminal Code. Okay? If you're in Canada, Robin Noble, Michael Williams Aim, Bunchy is out here in Canada. You know? I'm just saying. This is beautiful. I love it. So, again, paragraph 206(1)(e) of the Criminal Code says, everyone is guilty of an indictable offense and liable to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years who conducts, manages, or is a party to any scheme, contrivance, or operation of any kind by which any person, on payment of any sum of money, doesn't matter that it's only $97, or the giving of any valuable security, or by obligating himself to pay any sum of money or give any valuable security, shall become entitled under the scheme, contrivance to, or operation to receive from the person conducting or managing the scheme, contrivance or operation or any other person, a larger sum of money or amount of valuable security than the sum or amount paid or given, or to be paid or given by reason of the fact that the other persons have paid or given, or obligated themselves to pay or give any sum of money or valuable security under the scheme, contrivance, or operation. Running a pyramid scheme, you break in the criminal code, paragraph 206(1)(e) can get you up to 2 years in jail, according to that. And that is it. That's the laws. That's what happens here in Canada. You need to know these things. If you are in a multi-level marketing company, okay? So know these things. This is information you need to know. If you are in an MLM in the USA and it's operating in Canada or anywhere else it's operating in Canada, if you're in Canada, you want to be a part of an MLM. All right, and I guess the last time that it was last time that it was updated was April 1st, 2008. Yeah, the first one was 1992. All right. I knew the 90s had something to do with it. So there you have it. And as I read through those, I'm sure that you understand that here in Canada, also, Onpassive is more of a pyramid scheme than an MLM, which means that it is breaking several of the laws. And the things that they don't understand is that you do need a direct selling license in several of those provinces, as I listed. In order to get a direct selling license, Ash would have to apply for the written opinion, which he cannot do and has not been able to do since August of last year due to the SEC litigation. The SEC litigation fucks him over in many, many ways. This is just another one that goes to show you that even the SEC litigation there can fuck him over for becoming legal here. So it's not a bad thing. All right, well, it's all good. Even though it's taking a long time, and I know some of you are frustrated and you wish it was this June instead, even just it existing can help. Because of this existing, there is no real way for Ash to now do legal activity here in Canada, actually. So that's the good news, is that even though that's in the US, it also helps keep them Onpassive out of other countries, mine being one of them. And I am doing all that I can here to report them to the appropriate places and get this taken care of. Jelly says, I miss my Onpassive pyramid scheme back office. Yes, it has been down for 2 weeks and 4 days. Wow. Yeah, no. Friday was 2 weeks. Friday was a 2-week mark. It's Tuesday, so it's been a while. Still no update on what's going on with it and when it will be back up. As I stated earlier, I'm hoping that tomorrow, since it's the 360 tomorrow, that, Ash comes on, maybe tells us something. I'm not really holding my breath, though. They haven't really been promoting it. Usually if he's going to come on, they start promoting it today, and I haven't really heard anything, so I don't know if he is going to be on it tomorrow, but he should be. He should be appearing and telling everyone what's actually going on. If he is ethical and transparent, as they keep saying, then he would. So I guess we'll just have to see how that goes. And I'm interested to see what Marty and Chris have to say about the fact that they're illegally operating in Canada still to this day, this moment. Pick says, I don't understand why the government doesn't take this more seriously with the amount of money Ash collected from people, a huge amount of money. The government raids low-level drug dealers much faster. Yeah, it's a civil suit, right? Not a criminal suit. So it's going to go into the civil court, and that probably does take a lot longer than even the criminal court, which is also backed up. So 360 party time. I'm hoping that I can catch the 360 tomorrow. I'm going to do my best. Marty claimed today on Shining the Light that he has been testing with Ash and things are going well. Yeah, testing what? Testing what? The O Connect? Because that's what, not the testing they were talking about here. But they should also be testing that, I guess. You know, I hope for a 3-week anniversary of the site being down. I mean, we can only hope. We can only hope. I mean, they're just doing business as usual. It's almost like they went back to their roots, right? They're used to promoting this even without anything being available. It's just without it being available, it just makes this thing even more illegal these last few weeks, you know? It's like, geez. So, I guess we'll just have to see how it goes, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this early day stream. I have some things I got to get taken care of this afternoon, so wanted to go live early today because I thought it was very important we go through that. It's like I said, it's been a few years since we've gone through the laws. And also, again, I just want to remind you that right now, okay, they are trying to change laws in the U.S., and you do not want them to. So you are going to want to go to the link that is pinned. And you are going to want to fill that out, get a letter, find out who your representative is, send it in. This is what you can do as even just a viewer. If you want to join in and help us stop MLMs from getting away with everything in the USA. This is for the USA laws that they're trying to take away from people. All right. Consumer protection is very, very important in every country. So if they're going to take away the laws somewhere, I think that as a community, we need to all stand up and do whatever we can to stop them from doing that. So you do have to be in the U.S. for it to really matter. So please, if you're in the U.S., as I am not, I'm in Canada, please do it, send it in. And I'm going to be leaving this all over my socials over the next few days until the 21st. You got to get this done before the 21st. So, you know, maybe before the 20th, we got about 4 days to go hard, send in as much as we can. And then hopefully they don't change these laws. And then you guys are protected in the USA a lot better from these scams. It makes it a lot easier for SEC, FTC, and etc. to lay down laws here, because who knows if this changes now all of a sudden, maybe the SEC won't be able to crack down on Onpassive like we want them to. This can affect that. We don't want that. So let's stop it from happening. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today. I hope that all of you have a fabulous rest of your day. Like I said, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for the 360. Stay tuned to the community tab. And again, my socials, they're listed. And I'll see you all very soon. I'm going to post this all up on my community tab as well. So, you know, if you didn't get all the information during this stream, don't worry. There'll be a community tab post by the end of the day that will show you where to go to get the letter written, where to go to look up your representative, and all that lovely jazz. So I'll see you soon. Love you. Mwah. Bye.
My name is Ash Mufara, and I'm your friend. My name is Ash Mufara, And I'm your friend.
I'm Mike Ellis, by the way.
Call me Reverend Jim Jones, okay? Let's go to Guyana, all right? No joke. If that's a call. Hey.
And I'm your friend.
That negative YouTube channel has got more followers on it than I do on my own. And it breaks my heart.
And I'm your friend. My name is Advocacy. If you're rude, if you've been doubting or spying, or we know who you are.
Stop going there. She wants to be the first to make us look silly. Yeah, Queen of Karma's on there asking for a debate. That's the lady I brought on. Her debate was 3 minute Ash. And another Queen of Karma asking about why don't we answer the question about religion. I think we've answered that over and over again. I've been answering them over and over. It's not the answer you want, but yeah. Call me Reverend Jim Jones, okay? Let's go to Guyana, all right? No joke.
Alright, this is a great way to start your day. Come here and tune in to crazy men talking about their experiences. My name is Advocacy, and I'm your friend.
I'm Mike Ellis, by the way.
Have a great day, everyone!
And I'm your friend.
Stop going there. That negative YouTube channel has got more followers on it than I do on my own YouTube channel. And it breaks my heart.
And I'm your friend. My name is Advocacy.
Stop going there. Yeah, Queen of Karma's on there.
My name is Advocacy, and I'm your friend.
Let's go to Guyana.